Over the next few minutes, we're going to dive into a really powerful spiritual idea that's built on just two super short phrases. It's a concept that can shift your entire perspective from just striving to really thriving in your faith. And it all kicks off with three simple words.
So let's just start with a question. One that I think gets right to the heart of a struggle so many of us face. It's that feeling we all know, even if we don't always talk about it. You know, a lot of people who genuinely want to grow spiritually, they often find themselves feeling, well, stuck. It's that frustrating sense that you've hit a wall, that you're just not making any real progress, no matter what you do. And that feeling of discouragement, it usually comes from a pretty common misunderstanding. The idea that spiritual growth is all about our own effort, our own sheer willpower. And that cycle of just striving, trying harder, and then trying even harder, it ultimately leaves so many of us feeling just exhausted and spiritually drained.
So what's the secret to breaking that cycle? Well, it's not about trying harder. It's not about being more disciplined. It's a complete shift in our posture. It's all about surrender.
That simple prayer, "Change me, Lord," it changes everything. It takes that heavy burden right off of our shoulders and puts it into God's hands. It's an invitation for His transformative power to come and work in our lives. When you pray this, what you're really doing is you're admitting your own limits. You're inviting God to do that deep, internal work, the kind of work that changes your thoughts, your desires, and ultimately your actions from the inside out.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Real spiritual maturity isn't about us flexing our spiritual muscles. It starts right at that point of humility, when we finally say, "I can't do this on my own," and we ask Him to change us.
But let's dig a little deeper. Is this just wishful thinking? What's the spiritual reality that gives a prayer of surrender like this its confidence, its incredible power?
Well, the answer is found in another equally powerful phrase. And this time, it's not about something we do. It's about an identity that we already have. The key is in that little phrase, "in Him." You see it over and over again in the New Testament, and it's not just some throwaway line. It signifies this profound, living spiritual union with Christ that completely changes how we see ourselves. Now, this isn't just beautiful, poetic language. This is pointing to a real truth, that the Christian life isn't about trying to imitate Christ from a distance. It's about participating in His actual life that is now living inside the believer. The secret isn't imitation, it's participation. This foundational identity that we have in Him is built on three massive truths, three things that were accomplished for every believer through the cross and resurrection. It's a journey from death to life to a position of real authority. I just love how this lays out the progression. First, we are crucified with Him. Our old self, with all its struggles, is gone. But it doesn't stop there. Then we are raised with Him into a brand new kind of life. And finally, we are seated with Him, which is all about our new position of spiritual authority and victory. It is a complete and total transformation. So, when you really start to get a hold of this new identity, it just fundamentally changes the way you live. It shifts your entire spiritual dynamic from one of constant struggle to one of quiet, confident strength. Just look at the contrast here. On the left, you have a life based on your own effort, and it leads to striving, fear, and discouragement. But on the right, a life based on your true identity in Him, that leads to rest, peace, and a deep, abiding joy. And this isn't about your circumstances changing. It's about your foundation changing. You see, this joy, it's described as so much more than a fleeting feeling. It's a spiritual force. It's the evidence of a life that's truly connected to God. This joy becomes our strength, and honestly, it becomes our most powerful testimony in a world that's hurting. All right, so let's bring this all together now. The most important takeaway here is understanding how these two incredible phrases, "Change me, Lord," and "in Him," are not separate ideas. They work together in this really profound way. This is the beautiful combination. Our secure identity in Him, knowing deep down that we are crucified, risen, and seated, is the very foundation that gives us the confidence to surrender and pray, "Change me, Lord." We're not asking from a place of weakness or defeat. we're asking from a position of victory, inviting that reality to become more and more evident in our lives.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to reflect on. As you look at your life today, which reality are you operating from? Are you living from that constant struggle of self-effort or from the confident rest that comes from knowing who you truly are in Him?